Listen.
Everyone calls me Tails. You're probably wondering why.
Because of the extra tail?
Now, I've usually never been a big fan of those 3D gimmicks that try to make the movie pop out at you because, I'm a purist. I like the movie to draw me in. But the 4DX stuff has been getting bigger and bigger, with movies actually making custom experiences for their action sequences. So when Sonic was holding an early screening, I took out a loan to buy some of those tickets, got a free comic and a poster thrown in with that, and then ended up getting knocked out by Knuckles. See, I'd seen 2 prior movies in 4DX, The Magnificent Seven, which I thought was alright. It just had me rocking back and forth in my seat because they were on horses, and I left that theater looking like Yosemite Sam. And then also No Time to Die, which I thought was really cool whenever they were racing. But my word of advice would be never see a gun movie in 4DX because it's just going to feel like a Theragun hitting you for 2 hours. So knowing that Sonic had the speed chases, I was ready for these seats to come to life and shift into gear like Dr. Robotnik, and boy did it deliver. That 4DX experience included water spraying at you while Sonic was pulling a Jesus and Robotnik was spinning. They had air blowing in all directions every time Sonic was rushing around. There was more mist and fog than a live concert. The lightning on the wall came to life whenever Jim came in as the cable guy, and that chair moved so much, no lie, I was reaching for my seatbelt before I fell off. I was drifting with every chase. I was rocking with the boat, wobbling up with Tails. They had these sensors inside the seats that freaked me out just like the Bugs Life show at Disney. And honestly, Scorsese was right. Now, I still think that these prices are ridiculously expensive, but if you wanted to get the best bang for your buck, at least Sonic is that one movie that delivers on all the technical aspects that you need for this experience. So if you haven't seen it, at this point on, zip on out of here because we're about to get into some Super Sonic spoilers. Let me explain.
Okay, quick version?
So the last movie left off with Robotnik ending up in a mushroom planet after getting defeated by Sonic, so he's kind of been stuck here chugging chocochinos.
So he's been on the mushroom planet. Obviously, he didn't find the right mushrooms because if he had, he would have stayed there.
He eventually uses the quill he had on him in order to escape the galaxy before these Echidna Guardians come in to stop him. And that's where he meets Knuckles, and they team up to go find Sonic as he asks him,
"Do you know the way?"
And boom, you got a new team up. Personally, I really like Idris's voice acting for this, coming in for Knuckles and bringing that dry humor. I know that they've announced a Knuckles live action series, so it's going to be interesting to see how all of that ties in.
I'm laughing because I know I'm very funny and I never get to do funny stuff.
As far as Jim, he continues to carry the movie. His facial expressions alone have a mind of their own, moving around more than my 4DX chair. But it's crazy to remember that the only reason this character, had the resources to become a villain was because he worked for the government.
Remember the coup in Pakistan?
No.
Or the uprising in Azerbaijanistan?
It's not even a country.
Exactly. And you can thank Robotnik for that.
That said, out of all the duels that you get in this movie, hands down my favorite has to be
Stone?
Doctor?
Agent Stone?
Doctor.
Can you feel it, Stone?
I can feel it, Doctor.
Like, even when he was a castaway, the man was still carving stone into a rock. It wasn't as chiseled as Bro's beard, but clearly they're 2 peas in a pod. So it was kind of cool to see an homage to the games with Stone running his own coffee shop named Mean Bean.
I just thought you might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk.
What do I look like, an imbecile? Of course I want a latte. I love the way you make them!
But while their bond's stronger than the suction on his strapless goggles, I'm not denying it's probably one of the most abusive relationships on film.
Left herself open. Pin yourself to the wall.
You know, I won't miss you when you're gone.
Robotnik and Agent Stone. You know what? I don't want to rule anything out.
Sonic's also in this movie. He ends up getting into more risky business since his parents are off at Rachel's wedding, and since she's having it at the White Lotus, Sonic's nice enough to offer his rings to go see her get hers. And the family side of it continues to be a big theme in the series since this hedgehog is still clearly a child.
Goodbye, Cave.
Bye, chair number 1.
Honestly, when you look at it, there are more orphans in this than a Batman movie. Rob eventually pulls up to Sonic's house with Knuckles, whose fists furiously slow him down, because as it turns out, it's kind of personal for Knuckles, since he has some ancestral history with Longclaw, who was Sonic's past mama, and he reveals that he's after the Master Emerald in order to protect it just like his porcupine predecessors did. But that's when Tails comes in to help, and it all turns into a multiplayer.
Did you know that if there were a sequel, you would be coming back? Did you speak to Jeff Fowler about that at all?
No, I had no idea. And I think probably part of me assumed that I wouldn't because typically voice actors get replaced by celebrities. So I was so excited to do the credit scene. That was so much fun, but had no illusions that I would get to do the second movie. I'm so thrilled that I am.
Thank goodness Chris Pratt was busy. Turns out that Tails was watching Sonic the whole time, like from when he was playing baseball and all the positions to him entering the Speed Force. But the Tails, they weren't being creepy.
I mean, I wouldn't call it spying. We were all just hanging out, only I wasn't invited and no one knew I was there.
They escape and make it to Wade's house. They then leave Wade's house so he can
just sit there and be you. Sless.
They follow the map his mom had given him, which leads them to a hologram of her telling him he's their only hope, which causes them to join forces. They put on their runners and dash and boom across new frontiers as their rush adventures leads them to the snowy ice caps of Siberia. Because as you know, if it's a family film, you're gonna have that obligatory dance bit where he goes all Silk Sonic. After showing off his jump fever, we go from fire and ice to them getting ambushed right before finding the Emerald Cave.
Oh, great, the Winter Soldier.
But because Sonic dropped his rings, he's got to ring up Tom to help him escape. But because Tom swapped out the rings like Zales, that leads to Sonic crashing the coolest wedding of the year.
Wow.
Now, if I was Rachel, I'd be insecure to leave the house. Like, they really had her tied up for the entirety of the first movie to something called a Blue Demon. Then she gets swatted at her own wedding because her fiancé was a secret agent trying to uncover these criminal minds.
Oh Lord, there are two of them now.
They snatch up Sonic and Tails, which leads to the humans unpacking all of Tails' tech, which honestly I thought was really awesome to see, but it was crazy to hear how wild the theater was going. Like, they really felt the representation when they saw Sonic. They lost their breath when they saw that air bubble callback. And I really like that they kept the Knuckles infatuation with grapes, since real-life echidnas are around the size of a grape when they're born.
And gamers are really dedicated. Once they love something, they are the best kind of fans. I mean, they really are religious about it, and you better make them happy, you know?
They end up freeing Tails and Sonic, since it's the third act of the movie, and finally find the Emerald as they enter this lost world. After some Sonic Olympics in order to snatch it, Robotnik gets away with it and floats in zero gravity as he absorbs all of its powers, causing mania to be unleashed onto the world.
So nice when diabolical evil lives up to the hype.
Knuckles realizes that they can be heroes for generations to come if they work together, and so he joins them, but honestly, they're no match for Supercharged Rob.
But why?
Well, when you think about it, this man has been handy with his machine since the first one, and the fact that he just collected all of this advanced military weapons just means that he can create an armor suit that can smash a Hulk.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Personally, I would love to see another sequel that ends like Empire or Infinity War, where they just lose and all the kids in the theater just stare at their parents. And for a second, I thought they were going to pull that here. But honestly, you know, they're not going to mess with the Sonic fans a second time. Instead, he collects the Infinity Gems and turns into Super Sonic, which got the loudest reaction in a theater since probably Endgame that I couldn't even hear what Super Sonic was saying. After absorbing all these colors, Sonic rivals his arch nemesis and gets him back for planes, trains, and automobiling their car from the first, and then celebrates by eating a chili dog, since, you know, that's how he Sonics.
Make this look good.
Like Peter, by the end he realizes that he just wants to be your friendly neighborhood Sonic and still grow up. They rock out to some Kids Bop Cuddy as Tom adopts 3 pet kids as they unite to form a new tribe who Power Bump promises that they'll be back for a third movie.
Qué bueno que se salvó mi bigote.
Thank y'all for watching this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. You know, they got this series going. It's on track. Even the after credits already has the next thing going with the 50-year-old Project Shadow. So, you know, they're on top of things.
Wait, you're not Sonic. My name is Shadow. You've awakened me from a state of suspended animation, and I am very grateful.
Oh my gosh, yes. There are so many characters in this game that they're going to actually exploit. And people just love seeing them. I
don't know if that means Stone and Robotnik are going to adopt their own Maria, but I'm really hoping that Jim doesn't retire like he said he's going to, because they haven't gone full Eggman yet, so I'm hoping that they keep him for future installments until his mustache is the size of a seesaw.
The mustache is a manifestation of Robotnik's ego. You know? The bigger the ego, the bigger the chip, the bigger the resentment, the bigger the mustache.
Again, those 4DX tickets are really expensive, but it is a cool experience, and, you know, I did save money by not having to go to the chiropractor. The kid next to me also accidentally shared his popcorn, but it's just interesting to see how it's evolved. You know, a lot of studios are kind of making their movies with these custom experiences in mind. It's part of the marketing. It's on posters. So when they start mixing AR and VR, I don't know how much more of a rift we're going to see in theaters with 2D movies streaming at home while the XR experiences is in theaters. I mean, it's just going to be interesting to follow along with it, but, you know, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below about this movie, future installments, what your favorite